Hey, everybody. Welcome to Game Mess Mornings, presented by Deku Deals. With me, Jeff Grubb, your host from giantbomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the latest Nintendo Direct and the return of one of the weirdest games Dan ever made me play. A lot of fun stuff in this one. It's going to be a good one because we have Alyssa Mercante on the show. Alyssa, how are you doing?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me. It's been too long.
Yeah, thanks for being here. It's excellent to have you on. It actually worked out well. You had a story I was just reading yesterday, and now here you are. So
Look at that
relevancy. We'll talk about that and even more. But how have you been?
It's actually a full year freelance for the first time in my life, and that's been fun. Yeah. I close to 50 plus stories in this year. I'm happy. It's a grind. I'm not excited about my taxes, but we're gonna get it done. So yeah, we're live and alive and thriving. So it's nice to be able to come on here. It's nice to be able to do work for people at Rolling Stone and The Guardian, and people still invite me places. And yeah, it's just she's alive.
Hell yeah. Yeah, the term tax events has come up more in my life this year than it ever has before, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to figure this out. Maybe TurboTax is not gonna actually cut it for old
I need
Jeffrey
like
in 2025. I'm gonna need a guy.
You need a guy. Yeah. Especially now with you guys, that's gonna be fun. Well, it turns out you can write off a bunch of stuff. Apparently, I don't know. I'm not gonna teach you how to do tax fraud. Live.
No. We know about tax fraud. Oh my god, yeah. I like all the tricks on TikTok that are mostly all just fraud. They're like, hey, just do some fraud against the government, and that's how you save on your taxes. I'm like, all right, if you say so, internet man. It's a good time.
That's your defense.
Oh yeah. Listen, if TikTok told me to do it, for sure. It's got to be a grind out there. But I do. Yeah, I see your byline. I see you out there working and hustling, and it always makes me happy when you say you still get invited to events. Is that like you're still like leveraging all these old connections? People still want to have Alyssa Mercante at their stuff, and that's great.
Yeah. Able to go to see the Halo reveal, and still getting invited to Gamescom through the Gamescom ambassador program. I was able to go and have my flight covered, and cover all this stuff for a bunch of different sites. So there's people out there who are incredibly supportive, behind the scenes and in front of it, and it means a lot. Yeah, still have lots of people inviting me places, so much so that I just I can't go to all of them, which is what a great problem to have. So, and I've traveled, I wrote it down. I mean, I've been to LA more times in the past 9 months than oh my God, that flight. And Cologne in July. I was in Italy in April for Anno Pax Romana. It's cool. Because I'm not running or helping run a site, I have a little bit more wiggle room to be like, yeah, I'll go to Italy.
Sure, exactly. Yes, it is amazing how much those just daily sort of requirements can get in the way of doing some of the more fun stuff, for sure.
100%.
All right, you know what? Let's explain ourselves. We're Giant Bomb, internet video game doofuses, independent games media out here on our own, but we're not, because we have you at our backs. You go to giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member. Premium members make this whole thing go round, and if you want to join those ranks, do that, and what you'll get is some ad-free episodes, everything ad-free. You'll also get some free goodies, extras on the side. Grubb Snacks still happening this week. I got to figure that out with you, Jan, before I go to Minneapolis. There are lots of cool stuff happening, but really what this does is it ensures that Giant Bomb continues and you have a home base on the internet to talk about games and to hear people talking about games in a way that you enjoy and is kind of slipping away from us a little bit. So giantbomb.com/join to ensure that future. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with the first Super Mario Galaxy movie trailer shows Bowser Jr., Rosalina, and more. This is from Kenneth Shepard at Kotaku. And Dan Reichert, if you're listening at home, feel free to just hop in, camera off. I do have I have a little quiz for you, or a little guessing game. I want to see if he can guess who has been cast as Bowser Jr. I don't think he knows yet.
He doesn't know? Okay.
I don't think he knows yet. I'm very curious to see what he thinks. But we did get Rosalina as a voice actress, Brie Larson, which they pointed out. She's a Nintendo super fan, something she's talked about a bunch before.
News guy coming through. Hey, look out, news guy.
Watch out.
He has a film degree. He's our resident cinemaphile. Okay, Dan.
I am.
I want you to.
Hello, hi, Alyssa.
Hi, Dan.
Dan, turn your camera off, Dan. Yes,
okay,
camera off.
Geez,
right. Bye, wow. Dan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there we go. No, perfect. All right, Dan. Who do you think? And I'm going to give you some hints. I'm going to guide you because it's just going to be hard to guess. Who do you think is doing the voice for Bowser Jr.? Just go throw someone off the top of your head to get started here.
Well, I'm confused because I've been trying to avoid the internet this morning because you told me to pop in and guess. And I did somewhere see the name Brie Larson pop up. And I'm sitting here thinking, like, would Brie Larson be fucking Bowser Jr.? Like,
Brie Larson is Rosalina. So you're good.
Oh, that's gender swapped Bowser Jr. It's Brie Larson.
Okay. Actually, you know what? Brie Larson is Rosalina. I get that. Okay, I'm trying to.
It was good. She did, like, they give a little clip of each person's voice, and hers was really good for Rosalina. I thought that was excellent. Okay, let's see. I want to give.
Wait, let me guess just blind here first.
Yes, go ahead.
Bowser Jr. is a child, notoriously, and I'm trying to think of current famous children. Stranger Things is big right now. So one of the Stranger Things kids.
Okay, that's a fair guess. Now, keep in mind, a lot of times in movies, especially for animated films, they don't use children's voices for child characters.
Wanda
they just don't.
Sykes.
That's a pretty good guess, I'm going to say. Okay, let's see. Let's give a hint here. This is someone. Dave Attell's actually even better. That's actually pretty close. This is someone who let's see. He works with Adam Sandler frequently.
Oh, not Grandma's Boy, right?
It's not Grandma's Boy.
It's not fucking Rob Schneider. Is it? Tell me it's not Rob Schneider.
No.
Dan, it's not Rob Schneider.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, I saw Alyssa's face. Like, good. Okay, good.
Okay. Now, it's someone who works with Adam Sandler, but he's not like in that crew of
Buscemi.
He's not in that crew of Adam Sandler guys.
Is it Buscemi?
It's not Steve Buscemi. Although
that would have been a good one.
Another good guess. Okay,
Famous child. Yeah.
He's not traditionally an actor, although he's acting more frequently now.
John Daly.
John Daly. Okay. Now you're moving further away from movies. He's more of a movie guy than
more of a movie guy. Okay.
Yes.
Is it just a comedian? Is it a sport? Is it a sports adjacent man?
He's a director.
Oh
yes.
Shit. Wait, it's not one of the Safdie brothers, is it? No fucking way. Are you serious?
Hey, Dan, Bowser Jr. is Benny Safdie.
My God.
I told Chuck's like, only Grubb cares about it this much. I'm like, no, I think Dan, this blew me away.
Director of Uncut Gems is Bowser Jr. That is, that's pretty good. I like that.
And they even had Jack Black like come out and introduce him, and like Jack Black's like, he's an uncut gem. I'm like, well, that's weird. And then he said Benny Safdie. I'm like, what is happening right now?
They did kind of break the seal with him being in Happy Gilmore 2, of like, if it was. This is the Smashing Machine director, right? This is the guy who won like the Silver Lion at Cannes or whatever.
Right, wrote, directed, edited the Smashing Machine while also going into the booth to do Bowser Jr.'s voice for the Mario movie.
Oppenheimer one too, or is that the other one?
Yes, he is the guy in Oppenheimer. Yes.
So wait, there's one layer of separation between The Rock and Bowser Jr.?
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. And really, we shouldn't be surprised by that at this point. That is.
I don't think The Rock has any more than one layer of separation between anyone in Hollywood.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm into it.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, Dan? And we'll let you get out of here.
I mean, that was the fun of the first one, right? Was the casting just being like, what the fuck? Why is it these people? And this is very much in line with that. And I think that's funny. I like that.
I do too. Chris Pratt nearly killed me. This one didn't nearly kill me, but I was still shocked by this to a certain degree. All right, Dan, thank you so much.
Thank you for breaking the news. All right, see you, folks.
Bye, Dan.
Well, we got Dan's opinion on it. How do you feel about it all, Alyssa?
I mean, I think it's great that it's Brie Larson. I have not seen the internet's reaction. Brie Larson, notoriously beloved by so many corners of the internet. Curious to see what they say about that.
I do like
incredible voice.
I do like think about like, oh yeah, is like, does Nintendo consider that? And of course they have people there that would like be like, hey, let's keep this in mind. Like, but are they going to be able to handle it when it happens? Do they know what to do with these people? I think Nintendo's plan is just going to be completely ignore it, which
Yep.
We've seen that not work great, like for stuff like Star Wars, where it's like, man, it really feels like Lucasfilm should come out here and protect some of these people who work on this stuff and say something.
Yep.
And we've also seen it be like, okay, yeah, they just ignore it and it fizzled out. I do wonder like what the appetite is for that, the grifters to be like, all right, let's get back on the Brie Larson beat. And because it's like, this one's like such, it's so like nothing, because she's just playing a character that she should totally be playing.
She hasn't like, it's not just Rosalina and Peach in a movie and she's the star. Like it's not any of that. It's just she's a character who's already a woman who she's voicing and she has a great voice. So maybe they won't pick up on it at all. There's not. But you know what? They find it. So
they make it up.
Who knows? But the Benny Safdie, I didn't even recognize his voice at first.
I know, me neither.
Who is that? And I thought that they had just pitched up Jack Black again for a second. And then I went back and listened to it and I was like, oh, wait. Oh, shit. So I think it's awesome. As I hope that with more characters, that means there's less Chris Pratt voice. I'm just hoping that the galaxy means I can hear more people more often.
Yeah, I think that they will try to lean on the fact that the cast is getting bigger. I don't, like I said, I don't know how much Nintendo is paying attention to like what is working for the Sonic movies, but they're not necessarily directly in charge of making all of these decisions while they are financing the film. So they're more involved than some other IP holders, but this is still Universal and Illumination. And they probably see, hey, over in the Sonic world, they just keep adding more characters from those games into these movies, and it seems to get the audience super excited. So while this is clearly still going to be very focused on Mario, I bet they'll try to pull that off a little bit. I thought it looked good. I think that first movie was fine and serviceable. It's kind of what I said on our talk over, and I think that this looks like it's at least going to be that again, with the chance to maybe be a little bit better. I don't know, but I'm hopeful.
Listen, I've actually genuinely let out a couple of laughs. So that's like him closing his tail in the door. I was like, ha! Like that made me laugh. So, and the first one, I think maybe it just felt a little bit like it was trying to establish, I don't know, that world and be really careful with it while stretching it in some interesting ways. I just feel like this one might be more fun and a little more freewheeling. So I'm hopeful. It's also just like Jack Black, less annoying pitched up. Like I've heard Jack Black's voice a ton. I'm ready for slightly different. So I'm excited to see it in a different capacity.
You're right. Like there's a good chance that the bulk of this movie will have Jack Black as Tiny Bowser with the pitched up voice. And then I bet by the end he gets let loose and the third act is all chaos and stuff and he'll be back. Maybe be pitched down because he'll be giant or something. Who knows? But yeah, that is a little strange, but I'm okay with it because I feel the same way, where it's like we've had a lot of Jack Black, maybe try something a little different.
Yeah, and it's Jack Black. They hired Jack Black to be Jack Black, so like obviously he's doing a little bit of a different thing with Bowser, but barely, and he's in everything. So I think I'm happy to see where they're going with it, and I just always love hearing Charlie Day as well, actual Italian Charlie Day, who is actually Italian, playing Luigi. So I'm excited, and that's crazy for me to say because I didn't really care about the first one, but. This just seems like it's going to have more fun. I'm going to eat a really big edible and go see it. It's the day after my birthday.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, happy birthday, April 2nd, you're saying? Okay, yeah. Hey, there we go. We got it. I think that the movie will be harmless at the very least, to the point where it's like, even if I'm not like watching that first movie all the time as a huge Mario fan, I'm going to go see this and I will come out of that theater being like, yeah, cool. No harm, no foul. Maybe some stuff was really fun. And I'm like you, I'm hopeful that this one could be better in a lot of ways. Now, April 3rd is when this movie is going to hit theaters, at least in North America. Nintendo, it kind of did some stuff for Mario's 40th anniversary this year. That stuff will bleed over into the movie a little bit. They'll have Galaxy 1 and 2 on the Switch ready to sell to people alongside this movie. That could like hit the synergy that they're always going for with these efforts now, these multimedia efforts. But do you think there's a chance they have even more? Do they have that next 3D Mario ready to go for like the holidays when the movie's hitting DVD and Blu-ray in late 2026 or what? I don't know. What's your opinion?
I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I mean, like the Switch 2 is still kind of light, I think, in terms of titles. Just from what you would expect for paying that much for something like that.
Of
And
course.
I wouldn't be surprised if they have something in the pocket for, yeah, brilliant to think that it would come out around DVD release and around the holidays. I think a big 3D Mario is probably going to come next October, November for sure.
Yeah, I would welcome that, and I think there's a strong chance. Even if it takes them until 2027 to get to it, they'll find ways to be like, hey, you all still love those Mario movies, and they made a ton of money. Remember this? But I think they want to try to have it for next year if it's possible.
Yeah,
and they would have known for quite some time that this was coming, and I think they are. And because Nintendo is so involved in the financing the movies, and Miyamoto is so involved in producing the movies, I think they want to take every advantage of these opportunities. So we'll see.
Yep.
All right. Next story here. This one I'm going to ask for your help on. Young stars of game development feel let down by the gaming Oscars. This comes from Alyssa Mercante at The Guardian.
What?
Alyssa, break down what's going on here. I thought that this story was one of those ones where it's like, yeah, all those fears I always had about this were exactly true. And at the same time, hollering like, let's shout from the rooftops that this continues to happen every time, and it's always a risk when these big moneyed interests try to use people that are below them on the totem pole for whatever reason. So break down what this is, what happened here, and kind of what it means.
Yeah, I mean, the future class was announced in 2020 when woke was in and woke was cool. And it was meant to highlight the bright, bold, and inclusive future of the video game industry. It's tied to the Game Awards. It's the Game Awards future class. It was 50 inductees every year across game development. It could be narrative designers, it could be developers, it could be people making indie games, it could be people who run their own podcasts, it could be accessibility consultants. And the point of it was to highlight them. They would get this sort of, they'd be able to go to the Game Awards for free. Well, they got a ticket to the Game Awards for free because you'll find out that they did not help them to get there for most years. And they would have, billing on the Game Awards website. They would get mentorship and career advancement opportunities. But from the jump, it was very clear that this was kind of a hollow idea. Yeah, that was just like, what if we had inclusivity? And then most of the people who were inducted had to do a lot of advocacy those first few years to be like, this could be better. A Zoom call with Reggie Fils-Aimé is like great, but like, what is that actually materially doing for any of us?
And that was, when you say the Zoom call with Reggie Fils-Aimé, that was being positioned as the mentorship or yes, what they were promising as mentorship.
Yeah. And like they said, they're like, wow, it was a great, it was really cool to get a chance to chat with him. But then afterwards, like what else happened? Like, what do you get from that? And there wasn't any real like material mentorship opportunities. And then, they advocated for 2 years or so about, having more support, both financially to get to LA for the Game Awards, and also for the mentorship opportunities to actually be something other than just a Zoom call with Phil Spencer. And they got that in 2023. That class that was inducted did get 2 nights at a hotel in LA, did get flown there, and they did have better mentorship opportunities. But at the same time, 2023 was when the Game Awards future class wrote an open letter pushing for Jeff Keighley and the Game Awards to make some sort of statement about the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza and the layoffs in the industry that were like rampant at that point. They were ignored. And essentially, they didn't do future class for 2024. Everyone was kind of like, what's going on? And they finally answered them in the Discord that both Jeff Keighley and organizer Emily Weir are in last week, as reported by a game developer. And they were like, yeah, we did our programming for 2024. It's done. And we're not announcing another cohort for 2025. Bye. That was essentially it. So I interviewed a bunch of them to get a kind of vibe. And it's exactly what you expected. They felt like they were tokenized. A lot of them didn't realize that Jeff was selling sponsorships for this. Sponsored by Old Spice, sponsored by Facebook Gaming. And they really feel like, when woke was cool and woke was hip 5 years ago, they were like, oh my God, give me the kids, that we need the marginalized folks. And Jeff needs to be like, look, well, why don't you advertise with us because we have marginalized people? And then now that the games industry is swinging like everything else back to the right, and it's not in vogue anymore, it's just kind of been left by the wayside.
And it's like, Yeah, of course, it was always just these are tokens that we are using, of course. But it's also like, this is where criticism is useful. We can come out and say all that stuff that people were being cynical about was accurate. And when we see this in the future, it's like we should be able to recognize it a little bit better because it happened here, and we have a point by point, beat by beat explanation of like exactly what it was. The idea that he was selling against this while not paying for people's travel until he got criticized, and now it's like suddenly like, well, guys, I want to do nice things for you, but you can't cost me money, and then it costs me money, and then you also can't cause me headaches with the Gaza thing. Of course, it went away in that instance. It's as cynical as we always thought it was. So then, like, my question is always like, if this were to be like, if we were to have something like this for real, where would it really come from? How could it happen? Because no shade to Jeff Keighley other than for all the things here that he deserves shade for. Yeah. I don't think he's got it in him to do something like this.
No,
for real. So
I don't think he wants to.
Does the industry have it in its guts to like pull something like this off?
I mean, maybe it did. I think the craziest thing for me is seeing the chasm of difference between like the 2021 awards or the 2020 awards when they announced they had some video reel for some of the inductees, the honorees. They had a video reel for Khalif Adams, the creator of the Spawnies. And his was interspersed with clips from Black Lives Matter protests. And it was like, can you imagine if they aired anything like that at the Game Awards this year? Like anything, the No Kings protest, anything, the protest against ICE.
Never.
Like like it would never happen. We were at Summer Games Fest and ICE was circling LA. Like that is like we've shifted so much in 5 years that the industry as a whole, like Jeff is a huge part of this, and he's a tastemaker in this space in a way that I personally think he maybe shouldn't have that much of a say in things. But, that's just me being me. I think the industry can do it. The unfortunate reality is like it almost has to be the people who need to be highlighted working to do it, and that means there's more work for them. I could help put something together, but I don't have the appeal, the allure, the clout, the reach. So if the industry, which has now also, as we've seen, been very, very quiet regarding harassment campaigns against its employees, regarding, anti-woke nonsense, just like they were 10 years ago, if that industry doesn't want to even, say, hey, stop sending, adding fucking Erika Ishii and saying, horrible crap to her, if they're just going to be quiet about stuff like that, I mean, how do we even know that they would go anywhere close to this? And it's not in vogue anymore, and DEI is getting punished by the government. So I don't know if it's something that they would even do. And that's what I think it's like a huge bummer. Like, even if it was hollow, which it was, the fact that it's like now officially been like, we're not doing it anymore. It's just like the worst timing. It sucks so bad. And it's a huge bummer. And they're also disappointed as a cohort. And there's not even a place for anyone to go to see who was inducted into this because it's been removed from the website. It's like essentially erasing this entire thing from existence. It's a giant bummer.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Mark Andreessen. A few months ago, he said, and this is a thing I've mentioned a bunch on this show. People will be familiar with it, but it's always in my head because it's one of the things that made me the most mad I've ever been in my life. He complained that the deal between billionaires and the media and the public was broken. And it's like in the past, a billionaire could make $1 billion by having a great idea, and then you would donate some of that money, and everyone would applaud and laud these guys and say, what heroes. And then somewhere along the line, things broke down, and people started criticizing billionaires, even though they were giving away some of their money, and they wanted to bring back taxes and all this stuff. And that's just not acceptable. And I'm like, well, if I ever see you, it's on site, brother. I'm going to beat the shit out of you. But beyond that, it's like this idea of like, okay, the idea that there's a deal there in place and that we could sometimes get a little piece of that deal of, hey, if we do this charitable thing, if we do this nice thing, some people will be able to ride in the wake of that and get something nice out of it, even if we all know it is part of a hollow scaffolding to hold up the wealth of just a few individuals. This is about making money for the Game Awards, for Jeff Keighley, for the people involved in that business. Of course it is. But let's at least, I'm okay with faking it to a certain point if some people get some good things out of there. And it's like, oh no, the deal broke down because they decided to say, hey, we should maybe get a little bit more of that piece of this pie. And we want you to live up to some of our values. If you're saying that our values are important and worthy of being called out as these are beacons of light in a world that is relatively dark, when they say, well, let's shine the light on something that's very important to us, and you balk at that and freak out, it's like, well, of course, the deal, as we knew, was always fake. But it's like, oh, I didn't know it was that fake. And it's very disheartening for me.
Incredibly. And for the people who were involved in it, hugely disheartening. And there was so much, I had so many conversations, and I was on such a tight word limit that I was like, oh my God, there's so much more in here that I may end up like posting more somewhere else. Cause it was just so many examples and so many instances of people just feeling that they were very honored at this at first. Of course they were, you know,
of course.
And just realizing over time that it was just like it was just like Obama, the meme of Obama giving himself the Medal of Honor, but it was like Keeley giving it to him. Like it just, they realized that they're like, oh my God, this is literally just for show. I mean, that first year that they went to the Game Awards and they were sat behind the fucking camera riser and they were like, I can't see anything. like, oh, hello. And that you know, Keeley was having a party with influencers and industry members, like a room over, where they were all like, well, is there like anyone who's going to be like, oh my God, hey, welcome. It's transparent, and it's a huge bummer. And, you know, he claimed he didn't read the open letter, but I was told that, like, you know, because it wasn't sent to his email, but it was in the Discord. I was told that, like, after they sent the open letter in the Discord, he accidentally sent a blank voice note that was like a couple seconds long. Like, you obviously saw it. Like, what are you doing, dude?
I guess he was getting pretty fussy when some of the criticisms were being brought up, and
you know, he had canned PR speak for a little bit there, and they did say, we're listening to you in certain aspects. And then I think, you know, there was some infighting, from what I understand, in that group regarding having conversations about Palestine. And I think once they kind of started pushing more and being like, you know, we sent you a letter and you ignored it, he started to get like visibly annoyed and visibly like, you know, I like, essentially, why are you giving me all of this feedback? But then they did end the conversation and say, like, we'll get back to you, you know, like, we're listening. And then they just didn't say or do anything for over a year, and now it's gone.
Yep. I mean, you know, everyone knows what the Game Awards is. It is cynical, and it's the kind of thing where it's like, when I have that sort of natural default state of being a very cynical person, it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. Let's watch these commercials and make some money for the people who put this thing together. Whatever. When they present themselves though as these scions of raising other voices, though, it's like, well, you know what? The other shoe's going to drop there if you don't live up to that, because people will take that stuff seriously.
Yep.
And here
that's why DICE and BAFTAs are probably the better place to go if you want good representation of what's going on in the industry, and actually see the people who work in the industry, rather than, you know, I believe you only get 2 tickets per nomination as a developer, and then you have to buy more. So
like, how much is the gate for that thing even really making? That's so stupid. But whatever.
I mean, you see those reseller tickets at like $1,000.
I guess, I guess you're right.
It's what?
I'm like, I have no desire to ever go to one again. I went to the first one when it was the Game Awards, and had a fun time because I got to see Koji Kondo play with Imagine Dragons. Was that real? Anyway, yeah, I don't need to go again. So I'm like, that's my position.
I'll see everybody at the JW.
$1,000. Yeah, exactly. That's it. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. When we get back, plenty of more headlines to get to. We'll touch on what happened in that State of Play Japan version yesterday and more. If you want to skip out on these, giantbomb.com/join, become a premium member. Ad-free version of a video show, ad-free version of the audio show. There's premium feeds for those. Otherwise, we'll be right back. Jan, you taught me to overcome my fear of sharp objects. I want to teach you how to overcome your fear of saving money.
No, I don't wanna. I will only ever pay the manufactured suggested retail price.
Stop. You don't have to live this way, because now there's Deku Deals.
The double D?
That's right. Deku Deals is the best way to find deals on any major gaming platform or store.
I don't want no bunk out-of-date coupon code, Grubb.
It's nothing like that. Deku Deals has both the hottest and the freshest deals updated constantly. It's also just added Steam support with a super simple page to find bundles for Steam code.
Ooh, I just found the Mist and Riven Complete collection for $8 on Humble using Deku Deals right now.
I also use Deku Deals to build and add and share wish list. You can even use it to keep track of your collection.
You know what? I think we should all build some lists and host them on DekuDeals.com/giantbomb.
And if listeners go to DekuDeals.com/giantbomb, they can vote to make us play a game on the November 21st episode of Unprofessional Fridays.
Learn more at DekuDeals.com/giantbomb.
Game Mess Mornings, Alyssa Mercante, Jeff Grubb. Let's get back into it. Everything that was announced during PlayStation State of Play Japan presentation from Chris Scully at VGC. I don't know if we need to go over everything. I have some like post-show thoughts about this and kind of like very clearly, I could see what this was all about. But I want to ask you, is there anything from this rundown of games? Did you get a chance to watch this? Anything that stuck out to you? It was a lot of familiar stuff we had seen before.
Yeah. I mean, I think if there's anything really, really big coming from like Japan stuff, like Japanese stuff at Sony, you're going to see it at the Game Awards. So I think some people were bummed that they didn't see a Final Fantasy remake in there, but I think if that's happening, it's going to happen there.
Yes.
Obviously was very clearly trying to like recenter everything around Japan right now and like focus that around what's going on out there. I think the broken lore stuff is cool. I love the idea of like a social media horror. I don't know why I would be so interested in that, but I find it fascinating.
Weird, yeah. That franchise has apparently been around. I had never heard of broken lore.
No, I had to look it up, and because I was like, "What is this?" And then I'm like, "Wait, there's more than one." And it's been a psychological thriller for a while. Like,
so there's two broken lore games coming out: Unfollow and Ascend. Unfollow is out January 16th, and then Ascend also got a trailer. It's coming in summer 2026. So, all right, cool. I'll check those out.
Yeah, I mean, that was cool. And then obviously, the big one is getting excited about more Night Rain stuff. But for me, like a lot of that was like almost like so fast that I was also like, what? Oh my God, there's so much stuff in there. I am actually excited about Tokyo Extreme Racer.
That was out in early access on Steam. I played it earlier this year and was like, ooh, there's something here. It's like I couldn't quite wrap my head around the way I'm supposed to be like progressing in the game or whatever, but I was like, ooh, I really like racing around these Tokyo highways though.
Yeah. I never played it in early access, and I've just been kind of like backed up like we all are. And I think, when it launches in February next year, I think I'm going to get on that.
Yeah, that's probably the move. The Night Rain DLC, let's see, that's out December 4th. Oh my God, that's getting to be a busy day. And it will, it's going to include additional Nightfarers, bosses, and more. And there was a pretty good trailer for it. The other thing I was going to point out was the Sonic DLC and Pac-Man World 2 repack. It's previously announced, but it was just weird to actually like see it. Sonic running around with Pac-Man in this game. Pac-Man's in Sonic Racing Cross World as well, I think. Is that right, chat? Maybe it's not right, but so they must have had some deal there. But Pac-Man World 2 was a lot of fun, and it's weird to see Sonic in there. Anyway, bunch of other announcements. I guess Kamen Rider in Super Robot Wars Y, and there's a Monster Hunter Wilds title update. But really, the thing is, this next story, which is still from the State of Play, Sony announces cheaper Japan-exclusive PlayStation 5. This is from Austin Manchester at Polygon, who has a powerful name. During Tuesday's State of Play showcase, Sony announced a Japanese language-only PlayStation 5 to be sold in Japan for about $357, which is 55,000 yen. That'll start on November 21st. The digital edition PlayStation 5 currently retails for 72,980 yen, meaning the new price point is nearly 25% cheaper. Japan's new PS5 model will be region locked to Japan and will only work with a Japanese PlayStation account, according to the Financial Times. Sony releasing a new PS5 model exclusive to Japan isn't too dissimilar from when Nintendo released a Japanese language Nintendo Switch 2 console for about $130 cheaper than the base version globally. So it is exactly that. This is the move of, hey, the global economic situation, a little different than the Japanese economic situation. The yen is very weak, all these other things. So if we were to sell the global system here, there's a chance that for one, a lot of them will get purchased, bought up, and sent to other countries if we made them cheaper. So we can't just do that. We need to find some way to lock it down, but we also don't want to region lock the game. So we're just going to instead region lock the console itself, only offer Japanese as a language, and force people to have a Japanese account. And that will certainly reduce the amount of arbitrage selling that will happen here. And this is handy to a certain degree because Japan has certainly been like dealing with a whiplash for their economy, where it's like for decades there it was stagnant, not a lot of growth. There was deflation, and now in the last 4 years, it's been energy costs going way up, food costs going way up. And now those stagnant wages that weren't much of a problem when cost of living was low and was staying low for a very long time, they're starting to feel that. And they'll factor into another story here in a second. But that means, hey, if we want to like fertilize the home turf, if we want to make sure that people in Japan can engage with our system, we need to offer them something like this. The notable thing here is Sony didn't seem very interested in trying to figure out some way to keep Japanese gamers involved in PlayStation up until this point. And now this feels like a shift. And I think that's what the whole state of play was about, Alyssa, is, hey, let's sell people this system and build a state of play that sort of reminds people about all these games that are available on PlayStation and make it feel like a Japanese console again. So I guess my question to you would be, do you think that was successful? Do you think that they made a decent pitch to that audience?
I mean, Japan has the third largest video game industry by revenue as of last year. So like,
and PlayStation has not been taking much advantage of that over the last few years. It's been sort of falling behind.
Exactly. And that's on top of what you were just talking about with all these economic issues, right? So I think they are clearly going for a multi-pronged approach of not only being like, hey, this is an entire state of play focused around you. And also, you'll have access to this console that you can probably better afford. I mean, I guess the jury's out. I don't really pay all that much attention to like a Japanese side of social media. So I don't know what the country has kind of I've seen the weeb response, which is obviously weebs are excited, but like, what about the people who are actually there? I mean, the tariff situation and everything making it, more difficult for them to export stuff and like having to raise prices on that end. I think this is all really smart. And we've seen other companies who are kind of like, I think Squeenix was saying recently, like we are trying to center ourselves more around our Asian market and like pull back from our US and European branches. And I don't think it's surprising. I think it's interesting to see that we're kind of recreating these islands and barriers again. But I think that's just what happens when the economic situation is what it is.
Things are so out of whack. Yeah. Like, obviously the global open markets are in a weird low point right now, and not like in a way where it's like, well, at least it's protecting labor in other countries. No, that's not happening. It's just weird for other reasons. Like buying things and selling things in Japan, very different than buying and selling things in America, and almost like mere opposites in a lot of ways. And so, and that's just those two countries. There's still China to consider. I think people were seeing PS5s were selling pretty well in Japan, and people were like looking into it. And I don't know if this was ever confirmed, but a lot of people speculated that many of those PS5s were being purchased and sent into China. And then similar stuff was happening with Switch, but especially with the PS5 early on there. So doing this and saying, hey, we care about Japan again, I think it's noteworthy. Especially when you compare it to how Nintendo has done it. Nintendo never did the thing where Sony was like, hey, our games need to be globally appealing, so we are going to kind of shift our focus away from Japan. We're moving our HQ from Tokyo to Southern California. We're a global company now. And it's okay, that's fine. I'm sure you will still kind of have your Japanese games. And then they closed Japan studios. And they have not had that situation where it's like, oh, okay, but a game pops off in Japan still from PlayStation. Not really. And in the meantime, Splatoon has become a cultural phenomenon in Japan. It is like not just a huge video game. It is a huge thing in that country. Pikmin 4 sold millions of copies in Japan, or at least 1 million plus. It did better than it's ever done before. It has like become another thing that's close to a cultural phenomenon. And it's like, okay, Pikmin and Splatoon are really like they could survive just on the revenue they make from Japan. And I think Sony was assuming that audience didn't exist anymore. They were moving to mobile phones, and they weren't going to be around to purchase these games. And now I think they regret sort of ceding that territory. So I think this was a first step. If it's going to work though, Alyssa, right? It's got to be more than just, hey, we're working. All these games are happening, and also here's a cheaper PS5. They kind of have to like make some games themselves that feel like they cater to Japan, and that would not be a bad idea because Japanese games appeal globally on their own, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think more things that are rooted in that culture, more things that are being made there by Japanese teams. Yeah, absolutely. Getting back into your roots and remembering that, again, that is the third largest video game revenue, the country with the largest video game revenue. Like, you got to just remember where you came from, Go back to your roots, babes. And I think they realize that. And I think they also recognize that, like, the situation here with consoles and and money and people having money to buy more things is going to change by the second. So maybe putting all your eggs in the US basket when we have a big giant orange elephant stomping around and crushing them is probably not a good idea. So I hope they keep doing it, because I think this stuff is fascinating as well. Like, I think we far too often forget that, the US isn't the only place that video games are made and consumed. And there are giant global markets, including China, which is bigger than ours, that are buying video games, making video games, and caring about video games. And I think remembering that is really important.
Yeah, I'm sure this is just me being in my own head about it, but I will say the feeling I have without thinking about it too much is when a game is made for Americans and an American audience, it usually is inherently less interesting to me. It just feels like the edges are sanded off, and it's generic, buzz cut guy on the cover with a gun, probably, and it's like, oh man, I think about. And this is certainly selection bias, but I'll think about the Incredible Crisis games or Mr. Mosquito and Katamari Damacy and just be like, where is that stuff? Give me weird Japanese games. And I always put the disclaimer, when I say weird Japanese, it's never pejorative. It's always the best, most awesome fucking shit. Give me the weird Japanese stuff because it's got so much more character.
Yeah, and I think, like, I don't know, I think about, like, just Coffee Talk Tokyo, too. I was very excited to see that.
That was cool, yes.
Yeah, and, like, I talked about this a while ago. I forget where I was, but it's like when, how the console wars are slowly, we're not fighting them as much anymore. But like Xbox really kind of was like, we're the American system. Yeah, we got Master Chief here. We got a big dude. He don't talk. He just shoot shit. And then Sony was like, for a while, it was the Japanese thing. We were Japanese gaming. And then lately, I mean, the less things that we remember other than doing Ghost of Tsushima and Ghost of Yotei, which were obviously not made in Japan, but were, rooted in Japanese culture. So many of the things that have come out of Sony are like God of War and like, The Last of Us or something. And you're just like, where?
I think they clearly are globally appealing games that sell very well, make a lot of money.
They're huge.
Right. But there's something about them that they all kind of feel a little samey to me, and that's to my taste.
Well, but they also, narratively as well, they are kind of doing that thing where it's like, couldn't this also be a movie? And it's like, yeah, I just want to play something that makes no sense at first. And I'm just like, what's going on? For
something
like
that's
3
kind
hours.
of unapologetic about its oddities. Yeah.
Yes.
And now we're just doing sort of like, oh, it was better when these games existed. But that's because it was. It was. I can't help it. All right, let's stick with some PlayStation news. Sony declines to comment on PlayStation 6 plans and claims PS5 is only in the middle of its life. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Sony was asked about PlayStation 5's expected lifespan and its plan for a successor console during an earnings call on Tuesday. In response, Sony CFO Lin Tao claimed that PlayStation 5, which has now surpassed 84 million sales, is only in the middle of its lifespan, citing the high number of active users who continue to play. There's also this chart, Alyssa, that just shows the PS5 is on almost the exact same trajectory as the PS4. If there's any sort of lull compared to the PS4, it's in those years where supply was extremely constrained and production was hit by a number of things, COVID and demand for all these components. And that was in like its second year, it looks like there. But since then it's rebounded. And it's just like a smidge behind a PS4 sale, the PS5 is. And so it's like, and the PS4 is what, 12, 13 years old?
Yeah, it was 2013.
Yeah. So 12 years old, still an active system, still something that is used millions of times a day by millions of people. And say, okay, well, that's the PS4, and I always say the PS4 and the Xbox One, bad hardware, and yet those things are still sticking around. PS5 is a future-proofed console. PS5 Pro even more so. That thing's probably going to be around for a very long time. And now that Grand Theft Auto 6 has been delayed by another 6 months, kind of like really putting it to the very end of next year, and if it even comes out still, I think they were always treating that as a canon event in the history, in the timeline of this console, where it would and that's going to set up the last few years where we're really going to see a bump in sales. So we probably are in the middle of this console's life in a lot of key ways, right?
Yeah, I think PS3 to PS4 was like 7 years. And obviously the jump hardware-wise, I don't think was nearly as great as between 4 and 5.
Clearly not, yeah.
Clearly not. And so I think if we're in the middle, that's 10, then we're thinking it's a 10-year console life cycle, and I think that's pretty expected. I think that makes a ton of sense, because like you're saying with future-proofing, what really more are you going to get out of something in the next couple of years? You know, what's really going to be so different that someone's going to shell out? I mean, at this point, if you think about prices, well, the next console will probably be $1,000, you know, $800, $900, you know? So like, if you're going to make that big of a jump, what's the difference going to be under the hood actually that people can materially? Because I'm also not someone who I do not give a shit about FPS or whatever, I care that it looks good and it plays good. And like you won't find me looking at the little differences or turning it off to performance mode to visual mode. I don't care about any of that stuff. I just care that it runs. It doesn't feel like it's going to explode, and I don't have to move my games on and off of it because I have too many things on there. So I'm in a weird spot as a console person. I have both a Series X and a PS5, and I swap between them just because I prefer to play shooters with an Xbox controller. So like, for me, I can't see anybody reasonably buying a new PlayStation in the next 5+ years. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So I think, halfway makes sense.
Yeah, and they will. I think they're going to get real creative with this next generation, where it's going to be like, if it could still pop off in 2028. I think, I think that was the year they were saying. Maybe some people are saying 2027, but 2028, 2029, the systems could launch then. When they do, though, I think they will launch alongside, at least in Sony's case, a sort of reconfigured PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 5 Pro that will be the new base model for the next generation. They will just They'll scale everything down. They'll make it on the cheap. They'll be able to like have these old parts, old components, and they'll be able to make everything smaller and more energy efficient and use less cooling material, and it'll be smaller. It's just going to be a very
the size would be huge, a huge difference.
Yes, and that'll be, and then just the cost for them to manufacture all that stuff will be dealt with, and it's going to be able to play every game that's released. Because why would they make a PS6 exclusive game? PS5 exclusive games have been few and far between. Like, really? And in a lot of cases, it's like, this looks like it probably could have ran on PS4. Now, PS4, again, the frame rate would be bad. It's not going to be bad on the PS5 because the limiting factor is time and money and no longer hardware. I think that they are going to like take their time and slow play what the PlayStation 6 could be. And in the meantime, really make a lot of money from the PS5 because it has been successful, and there's not this urgency to move on from it. I don't see what that would be.
No, 100%. And I think like two things. One, I think obviously whatever comes out next, there's not going to be a disc drive. There's no way. I'm with you on that. There's no way. There's no way.
They'll sell one externally to like so they can bypass the argument from the audience. Yeah. And be like, you still have your option. You can
still play your games. You just got to buy this for $150. You plug it in and it's fine. It's not a big deal.
And they don't have to make a ton of them either. They just be like, it'll be like, hey, why can't we get one of this? You'd be like, oh, more's coming. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, we're getting more. And I think also speaking to what, like, in terms of a rush or a time frame, the way that Xbox has been lately and the way that everything has shifted, I don't think Sony feels any pressure to have to try and compete with Xbox. I don't think they really did between PlayStation 5 and Series X in terms of hardware. I think and especially now, You know, they obviously came out around the same time because that's just the way we do things. They come out around the same time and everyone decides. But I think Xbox has made it so clear that they're like, this is an Xbox and I'm an Xbox and you're an Xbox and your continuous glucose monitor is an Xbox. Like that Sony is like, we kind of just have like the reins to do what we want when we want here. There's no pressure from other console makers really anymore. And I think that's going to show, I think that'll give them more room to get kind of crazy and creative too with whatever comes out next. I want it to look cool.
Yeah, well, I am a fan of the weird looking PS5. I'll say that.
Hate it. I just do we're gonna go to throwback and sound like two old men yelling at the sky. But like,
please
remember when everything was like a fun color and see through? I miss that.
Oh yeah. No, you're talking. I mean, literally, I got the N64 orange, fantastic one over here, like right down there.
That's what I mean.
See the corner of it. Yeah.
Too often I'm hiding my consoles in my living room because I like having like, you know, a pretty living room. And I don't like as soon as you walk in the apartment, it going gamer. Like I just want you to like take a second to realize, especially in New York City, I don't have any space to hide anything. And like the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox are just like these big hulking giant things that take up my bookshelf. And I'm like, it'd be cool if it looked crazy. It'd be cool if it was actually having fun visually. That would make me feel so happy if you just went banana pancakes with the design.
And maybe there is a chance for that, because if they are going to do this like reconfiguration of the PS5, one thing they could do, if they want to like call it, you know, a PS6 Lite and add some other like very tiny improvements. Well, one way you could distract people from the fact that it's basically a PS5 again is here it is in fantastic colors or something like that. Let's go. I'm with you.
Thank you.
The not feeling competition from Xbox probably true. I wonder if like, you know, there's leaks from this morning of like that those rumored Valve stuff. It's like maybe with SteamOS growing, there's a chance they could feel some competition from the PC side of things, but I don't know. I think that they really are going to be in that situation where like our competition is short form video, YouTube Shorts and TikTok and all this stuff, and they won't be paying attention to anyone else.
Yeah, and I have the Xbox ROG Ally X, and that thing is stupid.
Yeah, I
like it. I'm having a great time with it most of the time. It is literally Windows operating system to a point where like it just bricked everything redoing Armory Crate like in the middle of a Hades run, and I'm just
preaching
like,
to the choir.
So dumb. Like,
She said it this time, everybody, not me.
I said it.
Yep, I 100% agree though. Ooh, Windows OS, get out of here. Okay, last couple of stories here. Destiny 2 falls short of Sony's expectations after Bungie acquisition. This is just another thing that they talked about in that earnings call, where it's like, hey, yeah, we spent $3.6 billion. It's not making as much as we thought it would. And yeah, so we're reconsidering some things. Real quick, what's the future of Bungie under Sony? Yeah.
I really am so sad about Destiny, man. Like I was such a Destiny girl. I don't know. I feel like Destiny's not going to be a thing in 2 years max. Like it's just going to go, the way of the dodo, I think. Although I don't know, like this splitting and having them working on Marathon and Marathon being such a lukewarm reception and all that stuff going on with the art.
And they said Marathon is still going to be coming this fiscal year. That means before March.
March. Yeah, which is crazy. And like, it's just a huge bummer because Destiny 2 was at its peak. You know, I'm thinking my peak for it was like Beyond Light, Witch Queen. That was to me like storytelling and content wise. I was like this, I could eat that up all day. And like, I understand why they shifted the way they did things. But with them, you know, tightening the reins on Bungie and Destiny, I think that we're going to see a lot less coming out of Destiny. And then I think it's just going to be like nothing. I mean, they're already ceasing development at Xbox on Halo Infinite. And you're just like, wait, you didn't even do anything. Like it's been 4 years. What do you mean? And so the unfortunate reality of the way that the video game industry is right now is like, they are just, the moment you dip them into the negative, they're looking to, even if you make them money, they're still looking for ways to cut you out. So I don't think it's long for this world to quote Drifter.
It's especially because, you know, that is an American studio, and we'll get to the last story here in a second. The comparisons there for the cost of making a game are insane. Before we get to that though, ARTDINK announces ARTDINK Game Log catalog title ports for Switch and PC from Sal Romano Ikamatsu. Tale of the Sun is coming to Switch, everybody. This is a weird old game that I first learned about. Alyssa, I was reading my EGM as a little boy, and I always loved the reviews where it's like, that number's very low. Let's see what's so bad about this game. And I think like Dan Shu or someone gave this like 1.5 out of 10 or something like that on the EGM scale. And I was just like, so it's stuck in my head forever. I'm like, that's one of the worst games of all time. This thing I had never played. And then Dan Reichert's like, no, that gives a lot of fun. He made me play it, and it's a lot of fun. It's a very
the sun, like the tribally kind of sun logo that looks like it's etched
the tribally sun logo. Yes, you fight birds made out of pizza as a caveman until you get like powered up enough to take on mammoths. And if you get mammoths, you can use their resources to either upgrade your character or to build your bone spire to go climb to the sun. And then if you build your bones high enough, you can just go to the sun. And that's how you win the game.
Build your bones high enough is the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's a beautiful thing. It's poetry in motion. It's poetry when you get to explain it as well. And now it's coming to Switch and PC via Steam on December 16th in Japan. It's on Steam right now. I don't think they have it like a translated version. I don't think you need that because it's a very simple game, but maybe there's no
pizza
English
birds.
language
What do you
in there.
need to know about pizza birds? You know,
you just need to know you need to fucking kill them. They need to be stabbed to death. That's what you need to know. This is very exciting. They have their other game, Aquanauts Holiday, which I've never played. But this is the company that made Doshin the Giant as well. I've always wanted to try that, so maybe I'll try Aquanauts Holiday first.
Anything that brings back old games and ports and re-releases them, I'm excited about. You know, we're losing the sacred texts.
It's good that like we're in a place where it's like, okay, these things can go to Steam, they can go to Switch and probably find an audience. People who like to buy video games are on those platforms, and I think people are like, oh, we can make something happen here.
Yeah, I love that.
Sega is raising Japanese employees' salaries again 3 years after its previous increase. This was from Chris Scullion at VGC. As a result of this change, the base salary, the new starting salary for university graduates joining Sega, will increase by 10% from 300,000 yen. I think that's per month, to 330,000 yen. So that's that 10% increase. The conversion rate on that this is per month, $1,900 to now $2,100. That is a really low number. Like you could not pay a developer on either coast of this country or in Chicago anything close to that. You'd have to. No. We're talking. You have to increase that 5 times basically. Before you can kind of start a conversation with people. I
mean, neither one of that is rent for most people.
Exactly. Yes. Just rent.
Just rent.
So when I see like all these companies freaking out and closing studio, like no one's making games in the United States for the most part anymore. And it's like, it's because they are comparing it globally to they can make it in a lot of other places. And I think maybe this is something behind like the renewed interest from Sony in Japanese audiences. It's like, well, maybe if we make games in Japan more than anywhere else, we could save a lot of money. And they certainly could. But at the same time, we talked about it earlier. Costs are going up in Japan now. Like finally, after many, many years, they are going up in a lot of ways, and all these other factors aren't really changing. And the fact that wages have not changed in a very long time, like obviously you don't get to this number without it just being stagnant wages for years and years and years. Yeah. Well, something has to move here, and it seems like we've heard this story a bunch of times now over the last couple of years. Japanese publisher raising their what they're paying their wages and what they're paying their employees. It's like, maybe things are starting to kind of equalize there a little bit, but they're still a long way off. But always important to point out, cost of living in Japan significantly lower than it is in somewhere like the United States. So you can kind of live on this, although I think even 10 years ago, 330,000 yen a month would not be enough for most people. You still there? I think you were just kind of breaking up a little bit video wise. Okay. Okay. I think we got you back a little bit.
I'm back.
No, there we go. Okay. So either way, it's like a good sign, but also it's like this really kind of tells the difference between what these companies are thinking in a lot of territories and why they're so hesitant to invest in these big new games. Like to me, it says, that's why Perfect Dark got canceled, because they were making it on the West Coast, and it doesn't make any sense to make a game like that in their opinion anymore. It's a bummer.
It's a huge bummer, and I think we see, we're looking at other stuff where like the entry level jobs, even that you get into the industry with, they're disappearing more and more. And when you look at a company that's considering like taking its QA and making it mostly AI by 2027, I think it's Squeenix that said that. You run the risk of, a lot of companies will start to look at doing that. And not only will they start to look at doing their dev work outside of America, but they'll start to look at doing their dev work with computers instead of people. And all of that is concerning to me. I think raising the salary is great. The cost of living in Japan, like I think you mentioned, has been going up. So good, great, amazing. But the industry is at a really interesting point with paying its workers, paying for games. And what's crazy is like they're all still making like a decent amount of money, like EA is selling potentially to a consortium of companies, but like EA laid off like 3,000 people over the last 4 years, but like, the EA president's still raking in money. So at what point are we going to realize that like the people at the heads of these companies are making plenty of money? and maybe let's spread it around.
Yep, it's a broken system, and it's like, yeah, it's operating the way it's supposed to be, and the way it's supposed to be is bad. And so we're getting a situation where a company can make a lot of money, but they don't have a clear pathway toward immediate obvious growth. So they have no lies they can kind of go tell their investors about what they're going to do next to make them returns on their investment. And so it's like, what are we left to do? Well, we cut jobs and we can sell ourselves to someone bigger. And that continues to be the two things that happen sort of no matter what. Fantastic. All right. That does it for the headlines. Let's get on to the poll question from Wednesday. Let me bring that up over here. Giantbomb.com or youtube.com/@giantbomb/post. Let's see here. What do you want more, a new Crash Bandicoot platformer or a new Crash Team Racing? I think I actually do want a new Crash Team Racing a little bit more, as does 39% of respondents. 61% want a new Crash Bandicoot platformer. I think that Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled sold significantly more than any Crash game before it.
Yeah.
So I think the general audience still really likes these kart racers. Something like 10 million copies for that game. And the rumors are there could be a new one of those, and I would welcome it. But I do hope they get back to a Crash Bandicoot 5, because that fourth one, which again I know wasn't the real fourth one, but still they called it 4, was very, very good.
Yes, I love Crash Bandicoot, man. That was one of my first like regularly played games on my PlayStation. Bring it back.
He's a cool jortsman. I appreciate his style and his ways of doing things and his way of yelling at Mario.
Remember that meme of him during COVID with the mask on?
Yes. Yep. A beautiful thing. Just a real dumb character that I appreciate.
Me too.
We have a new poll question. We'll get to that here in a second. Before we do that, though, Alyssa Mercante, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, and all of that good stuff?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm bylines all over the place. Guardian lately, which has been great. I'm on Blue Sky under my name. Technically, like a little bit left over on the wasteland that is Twitter, but you don't need to go there. And yeah, I'm on Twitch, twitch.tv/Alyssa Merc. I stream Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think you guys rated me yesterday, which was huge. Thank you. I just cover video game news. And sometimes I play games and get very heated. So that's me. I have a Patreon as well. It's all linked in my bio on Blue Sky. So yeah, check it out. We're supporting independent journalism here in every sense of the word, because there's nothing really left anymore but to do that. So go support us in every way you can.
It's all we got, and I do appreciate that. Well, I knew it, but it's awesome to see that there's people out there that want to ensure it continues to happen. And we're gonna do our best to sort of refill that excitement and hope that that can continue to happen for generations, and more people can come in and say, oh yeah, there's an audience out there that will pay and kind of follow in all these footsteps like we have been.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, brother.
New poll question: grade PlayStation State of Play Japan, A, B, C, D, or lower. I'm not expecting great things. People are always disappointed in State of Plays. I think this one, again, they said it's for the Japanese audience, but you can watch too if you want. I bet the Japanese audience is feeling pretty stoked about being able to save a ton of money on a PlayStation 5 before Grand Theft Auto, which does sell well in Japan, comes out. So, if it wasn't for you, though, feel free to grade it however you would. We'll get the results of that, talk about it on Game Mess Mornings here on Giant Bomb tomorrow. Speaking of Giant Bomb, After this show, we're going to be handling some business, but then later today is Blight Club. It's my turn again. I'm back on Blight Club. I don't know what I'm playing. They will reveal it. They did say that I should be ready to play a Nintendo or Sega handheld game. So,
Ooh.
My costume is right there. I haven't looked at it though, everybody. So I'll be getting
excited.
Dressed up, looking real dumb, and playing a bad game. It's Lightning Round, so hopefully it's short. But knowing these guys, it will be 17 episodes of me playing whatever the hell this bullshit is. That'll be later today. We have some other stuff popping off. Check out the website because we will have some cool stuff from like Dan and Jan were traveling recently. You might be able to see the results of that. We have the Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Backlar went to go see that. He'll be able to talk about it to a certain extent later this week. So a lot of stuff happening on the website, giantbomb.com.
Hell yeah.
Okay. I think that's going to do it. Alyssa, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and talking about video games. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. You guys are the
anytime.
best.
Yeah, and I always tell people, squeaky wheel gets the grease. Let me know when you want to be on, and we'll make it happen. It's always,
I don't have a job, so
well, just holler at your boy. Let's get you back on Game Mess Mornings. We love it. The audience loves it. We'll make it happen more frequently.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you all for watching and listening. You are the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.